Hey guys, today I want to talk about hidden dangers in the Philippines, but before I start I want to say be sure to like and subscribe. Also on Saturday nights, on most Saturday nights, we don't do it every Saturday night, but on most Saturday nights we do a live stream. We start at 9:30 p.m. Manila time. Okay, that's Manila time. All right, so if you guys want to tune in and you want to join us, feel free to join in. You can ask questions, and the topic is pretty much open with the exception of politics. But anyway, guys, I want to talk about hidden dangers in the Philippines. And we've talked about some of these before just recently, but I want to talk about this specifically today, mostly about cars, and then we'll get into other stuff and jeepneys and stuff like that. Because the other day, my girlfriend's daughter went off to school. I consider her my daughter too. And she went off to school, and when she got there, I guess there was 3 girls that got hit by a jeepney. The jeepney's brakes had like disintegrated, I guess, lack of maintenance, and hit these 3 girls. And at first the reports were that there was 3 dead, and then we found out there was only 1 dead and 2 critically injured. And I guess it was a place where usually if my girlfriend's daughter or my daughter had gotten there earlier, she would have been sitting in that same place. It's her favorite place to sit, was right in that spot. And that's where the girl got killed and the 2 others critically injured. And, it kind of tells you that you even got to be aware when you're sitting at a restaurant near the street or roadside, whatever. Whenever you're sitting near the street, you should always be aware that these jeepneys and these vehicles, man, the maintenance on them is zero in some cases. It can be very dangerous. I've seen many accidents because of brake failures here. I seen a guy get run over on a motorcycle, really bad scene. My girlfriend's seen it. It's quite common to see deaths here. Almost every year I see 1 or 2 deaths over here from a really bad accident while I'm out and driving about. It's kind of scary actually to be seeing something like that. And I seen a guy, I talked about this before, I was stuck in traffic actually, and this lady was on her phone, playing on her phone, and she crushed a guy in a tricycle with her SUV, pushing him up against the other SUV. She was actually traveling not really fast, but she didn't even bother putting the brakes on because her foot was probably on the floor or whatever it seemed like, or it was on the gas, but she was playing with her phone at the time while she was in traffic, and she hit the guy and she crushed the guy. And it actually happened right next to me. I watched the whole thing happen and play out like right in front of me, and he was definitely dead, afterwards because of the way he got crushed inside that thing. And the other hidden dangers are like snakes. The thing is about snakes is this, and a lot of people worry a little bit too much about snakes, but I understand the worry because I hate snakes just as much as anybody else. There was an Indian guy, and they put him, I believe it was for like 72 hours or something like that. They put this guy in with 72 venomous snakes. I know it was 72 venomous snakes, I believe. I'm pretty correct on that. I'm not sure how many hours, and maybe it was 48 hours or 24 hours or something. I'm not sure the hours. But they put him in there. It was for quite a long time they put him in there. And he was trying to prove that if you don't bother venomous snakes or you don't threaten them, they won't threaten you. They won't bother you. They put him in there with cobras and all kinds of other venomous snakes. And none of them bit him. None of them. But I want to talk about this because this is kind of a funny thing that happened to me, and I talked about this, is right there. Hold on a second. Let me get my camera better. Right on that chair right there, where I'm sitting right now, there was a pit viper. A pit viper is green with like red dots on the back. And he come up and sat next to me, coiled next to me. He just kind of looked at me like, hey, he's not bothering me. I'm not going to bother him. And quickly went off. And I was terrified of him. I almost went out through this window over here. Like within a second, I was almost out that window. And the other guy that was in here in the cabana with me, he was trying to take off out of here too, watching which way the snake was going to go. But the snake just kind of, hey, I'm just going to mosey off and go off my own way, and I'm okay. And he went off into this pepper bush that we had right next to the cabana here and slowly moseyed off, and that was the end of that. But I want to talk about this because we've actually killed a few snakes around here that were venomous. And one of them was actually, I think it's called a coral skein, or a coral skein, I believe it is. It's a multicolored snake. It's got like 3 or 4 colors on its back. And We found them near the dog dish, hanging out there, and we killed them. Now, those particular snakes have like neurotoxin that's really deadly, and it's something to worry about. You know, we've talked about snakes before, but I didn't want to just talk about like this type of stuff. There was other concerns that I want to talk about even more, and that's earthquakes. We get hit by earthquakes around here every so often, and when something happens here, you have to remember we're in cement buildings, and if you have a cement ceiling above you, that's a building that you probably don't want to be in. You know, whether it be a condo or whatever, that's not the building you want to be in during an earthquake. And I don't care how much reinforcement they have or whatever, if a big chunk falls out of there, it's probably going to kill you. And those are some of the other things you have to worry about around here. But the biggest ones are on the road. Think about the places you sit inside of a jeepney. Best place to sit, right next to the driver. If you can get a seat next to the driver, get a seat next to the driver. That's the safest place to sit. You know, it really, really is, because the people in the back get jostled around more. You can put your hand up against the front there and stop yourself, because you're going to see what's coming. And be aware of what's going on around you. And try not to sit too close to the side. Sit closer to the driver. It might seem a little awkward sitting a little bit closer next to the shifter or whatever. Or you might be try not to get in the way of the shifter, obviously. But be careful, because people could hit you in the side or whatever. You know, we all have to be aware over here, because it's not as safe over here as it is in the U.S. Most of the vehicles do not have seatbelts, like the jeepneys and the buses. When you get in, there's a lot of concerns. Buses are really not a concern too much. They're not as dangerous. They're big. They're up in the air. You get hit by something on the side, it's probably not going to hurt you. The shuttles. Now, there's shuttles around here that take people, on the back roads up to Manila and they go over to Alabang and stuff. Those can be dangerous because of the drivers. I think a lot of the drivers on the shuttles are really, really dangerous drivers because of the speed that they drive. They drive a little reckless. They're weaving in and out. I've watched these guys. The majority of them are pretty decent, but there's a few of them that I've had that are really, really reckless drivers. Also, when you're driving in small cars here are extremely dangerous because they don't have a lot of the safety things inside them that we do in the United States, because the United States mandates that you have to have certain strength in the car. They have all types of things that they have to have in that car. Whereas over here, it's not so much. They can kind of overlook a lot of those. A lot of the cars here, like the jeepneys and the other Jeeps, they also make Jeeps here that are like, they're not jeepneys, but they're kind of Jeeps that are handcrafted. They're dangerous. They're not as built as well. Some of them are built better, actually, but most of them are not built as well as regular vehicles that come off the manufacturing line. Now, are all the vehicles dangerous over here? No, but you might want to check about crash tests when you buy a car, whatever type of car you buy over here. Check about the crash test, because you know what? Over here, you're going to need that, because you get hit by a Jeep, a bus, or a truck, or a vehicle, or something like that. You want to make sure you're as safe as you can be, and always wear your seatbelts over here. And I mean, this sounds like a seatbelt commercial, but I mean that honestly. If you can wear a seatbelt in a car, and you can sit in a safe place in the car, sit in a safe place in the car. You're sitting in the back seat of a car, try to sit in the middle if you can. The middle might not be the most comfortable spot, but you know what? It's the safest spot. You get hit on the side or something. And the problem is here, I'm telling you, there's accidents all the time here. I see them everywhere. And most of the people over here will tell you that they've seen some pretty bad accidents if they've been here. Some people haven't, but some because they're out in the provinces or whatever. But if you live near the city, or you live around cities like I do, you're going to see this stuff, and you're going to see some pretty bad accidents too. But be careful, guys, when you're out and about here. Pay attention to what's going on around you all the time. There's always something going on in the Philippines. There's always some danger out there somewhere. And I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer here. By no means am I trying to be Debbie Downer. I'm just trying to tell people that there's a lot of safety risks over here, especially when you go to these places up in the mountains and they have these different rides that you can go on and stuff. Some of them are dangerous. They're dangerous for some people. I see a lot of things here. They're a lot different than in the U.S. The safety here is just not the same as back in the U.S. or Canada, places like that. Safety is like seems to be like a lesser concern over here for a lot of people. And for me, it's a big concern. I want to live long and I want to live healthy. I don't want to be, disabled from something like that, even more so, I mean, God forbid you get in a really bad accident and you're in a wheelchair over here. You're in big trouble over here if you're in a wheelchair. You know, it's life changes forever. You know, you can't get around as much. You can't do things you used to be able to do. All that disappears. It all goes away. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's show, guys. I have a lot of other great subjects coming up pretty soon. I have a whole board full of some new subjects. Some of them are really interesting. But I hope you enjoyed today's show. God bless, guys. Take care. Be sure to check out our live stream on Saturdays at 9:30 p.m. we start. It really doesn't really kick in till like 10 p.m., but it's at 9:30 p.m. we start it up, and usually the people start slowly coming in all the way till 10. By 10, we usually have a really good show going. You can ask almost any questions you want, as long as they're, you know, good questions. I mean, we get some people on there, the trolls and stuff like that. We try to keep those people off, and we have a moderator on there to take care of that. God bless, guys. Take care.